What's up? How y'all doing? It's Luke. This is a ProTech Calmigo, right? I love ProTech. They keep coming out with these little California legal automatics, and I think that's because they're actually based out of California, and there's not a whole lot of companies focusing on the California legal automatic series. It's a genre of knife that's just really not appreciated enough, I think. I mean, it is a limited selling market. There's not a whole lot of business that they're going to get. You're never going to make the number one selling knife a California legal automatic, but I definitely like the fact that they respect California citizens enough and other places that limit to 2 inches that they actually do produce these things. This one here, I think, this is the Calmigo. I think, honestly, it has been a little bit misinterpreted by the market, though. One of the best California legal automatics, honestly, I still think the best. A lot of people would say one of the best is this ProTech half-breed right here. And what they did here is they took a Sprite blade and a Newport handle and put them together. And so you've got a full-size handle, a medium-sized working grip with a 2-inch blade. It works really well. It's very comfortable to use. It's very sleek. It's a very nice design. It's very well. I think it sells very well for them. You can see this is a production run 3. I think they're actually on production run 4 now. But most of the California legal automatics that you actually see are something more like this. And this is the Benchmade in Pell, right? Where they still do the 1-in-1 ratio. They try to get as much of the hand, or close to a 1-in-1 ratio as they can. Not necessarily 1-in-1 since it is a 2-inch blade. They give you a 3-finger grip, and it is a really good 3-finger working grip. You can stab things with this, penetrate. You're not really going to slip up. You don't really have too much attracting motion, but you can do some work. It's comfortable. It fits in your hand nicely. And this one here, it's got a little bit longer handle to it. And I think the reason that they did this is different than what people have thought it was for. People have been saying that this is one of those knives that, oh yeah, you can use it as a little 4-finger knife. And yes, you can. You can see that there. It fits into my hand like a little 4-finger grip. But while this is happening, this is actually what's on the inside of my hand. You can see that there's a little choil there, right? And if I use this little choil with my middle finger, my index finger wraps completely around the blade. If I use this little choil with my index finger, I've got a very comfortable, very nice 3-finger working grip that my finger actually lies down on this little pad of jimping right here on the back. It feels really good. I can get full belly contact and do some amazing cutting, but it's a 3-finger grip. I've only got 3 fingers on this knife. And if I choke up and put all 4 fingers on this knife, that choil is sitting in between my 2 fingers there. None of my fingers can actually get up and use that little choil. And then there's this little square nub sticking off the front right here, right? That little bit in front isn't rounded. It's not flat and it's not rounded. It's got that little square nub. So that's actually what's contacting my index finger. So I can choke up on here, have all 4 working grips, and then the jimping is just completely useless because I'd have to cock my thumb back like that to actually use the jimping. My thumb wants to lie up here on the blade, but it can't really do that unless I'm doing some type of scalpel grip. And this just isn't a comfortable grip. This just isn't feasible. I mean, you're not going to cut anything like that. So really, I think this is a 3-finger knife. This is a designed 3-finger knife. What the longer blade is doing, or what the longer handle is actually doing, is it is a positive. It is giving you something. It's giving you an extension of blade out of your hand, because you've still got that little 3-finger grip, but you've got the whole pivot, and then there's that whole like 1/2 inch of space beyond the pivot, and then your 2-inch blade. So you've got almost a 3-inch blade worth of material coming out of your hand, worth of distance coming out of your hand. So it's actually extending your reach. That's normally a term used in like defensive knives, and this obviously isn't coordinating towards that. This is a utility tool, but even in the utility factor realm of it, this is still an amazing thing because it makes it so much easier for you to cut, and you've got so much more control. You can hit anywhere you really want to on that belly, and you can get good contact with the ground. So it is a fantastically designed knife, but it is still a 3-finger 2-inch blade California legal automatic. I don't think that it's designed to get up there and actually choke up and work like this. I really don't know. It may have been the intention of the designer, but if it was, it just doesn't work very well. I do really like the knife. As far as a working blade shape, I was stated in another video that I think this is the best blade shape for a 2-inch blade, and I do agree with that overall. But if you're actually just going to be carrying it not necessarily as a possible backup weapon, not necessarily you just don't want the cool, the ooh, and the awe factor as much. You don't mind being a little bit more subdued in the design for more of a working shape, for more of a capability in actual cutting and use. This is fantastic for that. The amount of belly that's on this thing, it's got a good flat grind. It's got a 3/4 of an inch of flat from not too thick of a blade stock, so it's decently thin behind that cutting edge. It's got decently good geometry, and that belly right there circles all the way up and around. So you've got a massive amount of cutting and a massive amount of long stroke power that you can do with this little 2-inch blade, and I think that's amazing. This is an excellently designed knife, but it's not necessarily designed for the things that I think the market is interpreting it as. And I will say this, out of all of my knives, out of all of the little California legal automatics that I own, got to figure out how the hell that safety even works. This thing kicks itself out. I don't know if you can see all of those. This thing slams itself open. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. It's got a stiffer spring and the blade weighs more. So when it moves, it moves. This thing feels great to open. Bam. But I have actually noticed myself, I've never tried to push the pivot, pulling this thing out of my pocket. I've never actually been like, why won't it work? But I have actually pulled it out and lying my finger on the pivot, realizing that it's the pivot, and moving down to the actual button. So in a really high stress situation, I can't see myself actually trying to fumble with that pivot. So they may be a little bit too close lined up, but that's a California. It's not. It's the ProTech Calmigo California Legal Automatic. Definitely a nice little knife, but still a 3-finger 2-inch blade. Just takes it in a whole new direction. A direction that I am glad they did, because this is an excellent little working knife right here. Yep. Y'all have a good one.